So one of the most challenging, but almost impossible, but not because we managed to make it happen, bespoke projects that we made was for a super yacht. And one of our clients called to say that she needed some bespoke picnic baskets, and that these picnic baskets had to be made from polystyrene fish boxes, because that's how the client came to make his money. But the boxes had to be a certain dimension. One particular box had to be the inside dimension had to be high enough so that this particular bottle of his favourite wine could fit inside it with the cork half in. And because we take on and we love working in detail, that wasn't a problem. The problem was trying to make a box with a lid that's part of, and the body of it is polystyrene. However, we managed to figure out a way to line the top of the box, the inside top, with a teak. The teak was the same teak that matched the deck of the boat. And because we needed to protect the outside, but it was still a nautical theme, we couldn't use a canvas, so we used a wetsuit fabric. Sewing a wetsuit fabric to a shape so that it's not stretched as it's gone under the sewing machine was the biggest challenge. But the ingenuity and the creativity of our team made it possible for us to make this cover out of wetsuit fabric, which had sewn straps all the way through. Because bearing in mind it had to be practical as well as look good and fit the brief. So we covered it in the wetsuit fabric. We had these straps that we had made and we attached all the way through. The straps were long enough so that you could hold it together at the top. It was all in this beautiful dark grey, and it had a little tag, a canvas tag on the side, and it was in red because the ship's sort of accent colour was this red. It was called Red Dragon. And I presented it to the client for the first sample. They and I couldn't believe that we had actually come up with the solution to their request, and so we went on to make 2 more. So we made 3 bespoke of varying sizes picnic baskets for this super yacht, and it was just so exciting and so rewarding, making something that potentially others might think is impossible, but we did it. One of the most memorable commissions that we've had was quite a few years ago, and the client phoned me up and said, Sonnaz, I would like a rocket sofa. Naturally, I said, that's absolutely fine. We can make whatever you want. Anyway, I didn't actually realise that he had thought through the whole concept of it before he actually got to me. So he emailed me a photo of an aluminium old fuel tank that had been cut down, and it looked like a rocket, and within the main body of it somebody had made a sofa. So clearly, again, another bespoke project that somebody's made, and he's found it online. What he wanted was, it was slightly longer. So it was 11 feet long from tip to tip in the end. And I went to his workshop because he made the body of it. He had sourced the old fuel tank from an RAF jet, and apparently these fuel tanks just get discarded in the sea, but because it's for aviation, they're perfectly engineered. So he had stripped all of the paint back, he had highly polished the surface, and my job at that stage in his workshop was to advise on the rake of the back and where he can build in the solid panels for the backrest to go on and the seat base to go on. It was then that he had told me that he wanted one end to have holes in the side, and he was going to make basically holders for spirits and wine to sit in, and it was all going to be lit up on that end. and then he also wanted a quilted diamond finish. As usual, I had said no problem whatsoever. We sorted out what the rake had to be for the back to be comfortable, and that would also denote how much seat depth you had left. And we mocked it all up and out of foam and wood at the time, and he sat in it and said it was fine, etc. So then came making the top cover. And when we trimmed vehicles, sort of highly bespoke individual vehicles, we tend to do this quilted pattern, but he wanted these big diamonds. And we had, the challenges were, because it was curved this way, because it was coming down to a tip, and that was sort of the shape. And we had the curved plumpness of the backrest and of the base. Anyway, we managed to put it all together, and all of the diamonds matched up and married up, and we finished the edges of the inside rims with a bit of padding, because that would have been a raw bit of edge of metal otherwise. And he had to take his windows out to actually get it in the door, and then even then it fits just about at one end of his living room. And we had put, because he's really into space, thankfully, because that's why he's had the sofa made, and then we put, at his request, a wallpaper on one end of the wall, which was like a galaxy, space, planets wallpaper, and a huge lava lamp. And it was like walking into a different world. We do love an unusual project, and when we were asked to upholster walls, that's not unusual. Whether it's a reupholster of the original walls, or actually putting up new battening, etc., and covering the wall either in a tapestry or fabric. When we found out it was somebody's downstairs loo in a manor house, which is slightly unusual, and that we were still sort of up for it and didn't think there would be any challenges, etc. Another day in the office, except this was a tiny downstairs loo with 2.8 metre drop, and it was about 4 foot by 5 foot in size. Bearing in mind the door also had to be open while you were in there. However, the client wanted this particular floral fabric. Again, not a problem. It had a beautiful 0.8 of a metre pattern drop, so on some panels it looks like a piece of artwork because the drop is so big. And we managed to squeeze ourselves into this bathroom and button all the walls out and make them square, because it's a manor house and no wall is square in a manor house, so we made sure that that was all level and good. And we had to keep the toilet in place because we couldn't take that out due to plumbing, etc. So we very carefully worked our way in this tiny little bathroom, starting from the top going down to the bottom. And what I really liked about this project was that after we had done the inside of that room, our client actually wanted us to do the door. So what we did is we put a trim around the door and upholstered inside that panel, but we made sure that the pattern match carried on all the way around the room, so you wouldn't know it was a separate panel or a separate piece of furniture. And then again, as that had happened, and it couldn't necessarily have been thought of at the design stage, once we had upholstered the inside of the door, the inside of the room, our client then asked us to do the outside of the door. So it was like a little teasing lead-in to what the rest of that bathroom had to hold. And again, as you open up that door from the outside, which is upholstered, the pattern match from the outside matched all the way through the inside of the room, and it was such a satisfying feeling. And now the downstairs loo is the talk of all of their parties.